There's a moment right after you break free when you expect to feel an overwhelming sense of relief. You picture yourself standing on the battlefield, victorious, as the dust settles. But what no one tells you is that this victory comes with a strange kind of silence. You've spent so long fighting, anticipating their next move, bracing for their next manipulation, that when it finally stops, you don't know what to do with yourself. That silence can feel unsettling because for so long, the chaos was normal. You see, narcissists don't just manipulate you, they rewire your mind to doubt yourself. They make you believe that without them, you are nothing. And now, standing on the other side, it's not enough to simply be free. You must learn how to live without the constant need to defend yourself. The hardest part about breaking free isn't leaving, it's healing. It's learning to trust yourself again. Because the truth is, when you've been conditioned to question your own reality, making decisions on your own feels foreign. But here's what you need to know. Every time you trust your instincts, every time you set a boundary, every time you say no without guilt, you're rewriting the story they tried to impose on you. And let me tell you something. They will try to pull you back in, not because they love you, not because they miss you, but because they lost control over you. That's what this has always been about, control. So what do? Do you retaliate? Do you try to prove yourself to them? No, you do the one thing they cannot stand, you move forward. You disappear from their world. Not with anger, not with a dramatic exit, but with silence. Because silence is the one thing they cannot manipulate. And in that silence, you rebuild. You learn to live on your own terms. You find joy in places they told you were foolish. You pursue dreams they laughed at. You cultivate relationships based on love, not fear. And then something incredible happens. One day, you wake up and you realize you don't think about them anymore. They no longer occupy space in your mind. You no longer need validation from the person who tried to break you. Because defeating a narcissist isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were always enough, that you were never the weak one, that their greatest fear, the one thing they never wanted you to see, was that you were always stronger than them. Defeating a narcissist isn't just about breaking free. It's about rediscovering who you are without their control. Many people believe that once they escape a toxic relationship, the battle is over. That the hard part was leaving, standing up for themselves, and cutting ties. But the truth is, walking away is only the first step. What comes next is the real challenge. The process of reclaiming your identity, your confidence, and your ability to trust yourself again. When you've spent months or even years under the influence of a narcissist, your entire reality is shaped around them. You second-guess your decisions, you walk on eggshells, and you shape your life to fit their needs, their emotions, and their manipulations. Even when you're free, that conditioning doesn't just disappear overnight. The effects linger. You may find yourself questioning your own choices, doubting your worth, and struggling to recognize the person you were before the manipulation. The first step in this journey is self-discovery. You've spent so long being told who you are, what you should do, how you should feel, what you should believe, that now, without their voice in your ear, you might feel lost. But this isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. This is your opportunity to redefine yourself on your terms. The beauty of this phase is that it's yours to shape. There are no wrong answers. You get to explore, to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow. A narcissist's greatest weapon is self-doubt. They make you question your own reality, your own judgment, and your own instincts. Even after they're gone, you might struggle to trust yourself. Every decision, no matter how small, might come with hesitation. What if I'm wrong? What if I make a mistake? But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of life, and more importantly, they're yours to make. Trusting yourself again means giving yourself permission to fail, to learn, and to grow without fear of judgment. It means silencing the voice in your head that still echoes their criticism and replacing it with your own inner strength. Many people, after escaping a narcissist, feel the urge to prove themselves, to show the world, and even the narcissist, that they're better off without them. But here's something they don't tell you. The most powerful thing you can do is move on in silence. Narcissists thrive on attention, whether it's love, hate, admiration, or anger. It fuels them. The one thing they can't handle is being irrelevant. When you remove your energy from them completely, when you stop engaging, when you stop explaining yourself, you take away their power. So don't seek revenge. Don't waste your time trying to make them see what they did wrong. They won't. Instead, put that energy into building your future. Because the moment you stop thinking about them, the moment you truly stop caring, is the moment you win. Breaking free from a narcissist is a gift, but it's also a responsibility. You now have the power to create the life you always deserved. That means setting boundaries, not just with them, but with everyone in your life. It means recognizing red flags early and refusing to let toxicity take root again. It also means being kind to yourself. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days the past will haunt you. That's okay. Progress isn't about never looking back. It's about choosing every day to keep moving forward. There will come a day when you wake up and realize they no longer occupy space in your mind, when your choices are no longer shaped by what they did to you, when you laugh without hesitation, love without fear, and live without the shadow of their manipulation. That is the real victory, not escaping, not proving yourself, but simply living freely and without them. And that is when we are at their. The battle left scars, but those scars are proof of survival. They tell a story, not of weakness, but of resilience. They are reminders that you faced something meant to break you, yet here you stand. But survival is only the beginning. The real challenge comes after the storm has passed. It comes in the quiet moments when there's no longer a fight, no longer an enemy, and yet the echoes of the past still whisper in your mind. The biggest casualty of narcissistic abuse is not the relationship itself, it's trust. Not trust in others, but trust in yourself. Because when you've spent so long being manipulated, gaslighted, and controlled, you start to question your own reality. You wonder if your instincts can be trusted at all. How did I not see it? How did I let it happen? These questions haunt you, making you doubt your ability to make decisions, to recognize danger, and to trust your own judgment. But here's the truth, your instincts were never wrong. They were just drowned out by someone who worked tirelessly to silence them. And now, your journey is about learning to hear them again, louder, clearer, and without fear. Think back. There were moments, subtle, fleeting moments, when something felt off, when you hesitated before believing their words, when you had a gut feeling that something wasn't right. That was your intuition speaking. And the only reason you ignored it was because you were trained to. A narcissist thrives on control. They make you doubt what you see, what you hear, and what you feel. They manipulate your emotions so expertly that you start to believe their version of reality over your own. And that's why, even after you leave, that doubt lingers. But here's what you must understand. That voice inside you, the one they tried so hard to silence, is still there. It never left. It just needs to be trusted again. Rebuilding trust in yourself doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. One that starts with small, seemingly insignificant decisions. It starts with choosing what you want to eat without overthinking, with allowing yourself to say no without guilt, with making a choice, not because you're afraid of the consequences, but because it feels right to you. Each small decision you make strengthens your ability to trust yourself again. And over time, those small choices build confidence. Confidence in your ability to make the right call. Confidence in knowing that you don't need someone else to validate your feelings. Confidence that next time you won't ignore your intuition. One of the hardest parts of healing is forgiving yourself. You might look back and wonder, how did I let this happen? Why didn't I see the signs? But you must understand, this wasn't a failure on your part. It was a system designed to break you. Narcissistic abuse isn't about intelligence. It's not about strength or weakness. It's about conditioning. Slowly, over time, they manipulated your reality, making you believe that your instincts were unreliable, that your emotions were too much, that your needs were a burden. And when someone chips away at you like that, day after day, year after year, eventually you start to believe them. But that belief can be undone. You can reprogram yourself to trust again. And it starts with shifting the narrative. You weren't weak, you were surviving. And now you are rebuilding. One of the greatest signs that you're learning to trust yourself again is your ability to set and enforce boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about protecting yourself. They are a declaration that you will no longer tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or emotional abuse. When you set a boundary, you send a message to yourself. I am worthy of respect. And every time you enforce that boundary, you reinforce that belief. You prove to yourself that you are in control, that you are no longer a prisoner to someone else's demands, that you have the right to protect your peace. There will be days when you feel like you've conquered it all, when your confidence is unshakable and you know deep down that you will never fall into that trap again. And then there will be days when doubt creeps back in, when you second guess yourself, when the memories of the past feel too heavy. That's normal. Healing is not a straight path. It's messy, it's filled with setbacks and breakthroughs. But every time you choose to believe in yourself, every time you remind yourself of how far you've come, you take another step forward. The goal is not just to heal. It's to get to a place where you don't even think about healing anymore. A place where you trust yourself so deeply that it feels natural. A place where your intuition speaks and you listen. Without fear, without doubt. And that day will come, not because someone tells you it will, but because you will create it. One choice at a time, one step at a time, one act of self-trust at a time. Because in the end, the greatest victory isn't just surviving the battle. It's knowing that you are the one who gets to write the next chapter. And this time you get to do it on your terms. The most effective response to a narcissist is moving forward without them. Their worst nightmare is your indifference. Many people, after escaping the grip of a narcissist, feel an overwhelming urge to prove something, to prove they were right, to expose the lies, or to make the narcissist feel the pain they inflicted. The desire for revenge, for justice, is natural. After all, you suffered. You were manipulated, belittled, and drained. And now that you see the truth, it feels only fair that they should suffer too. But here's the hard truth. Narcissists don't feel remorse. They don't sit in regret, contemplating their wrongdoings. They don't learn. They don't grow. And most importantly, they don't care the way you do. What they do care about is attention, whether it's love or hate, admiration or rage. They feed off your energy. Engaging with them, even in anger, keeps you trapped in their world. And that is why the most powerful thing you can do is walk away in complete and utter silence. To a narcissist, control is everything. They control your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. And if they can still make you react, even in anger, they still have power over you. They don't care if you scream at them, expose them, or even try to take revenge. In fact, they welcome it. Because as long as you're engaging, they're still in control. They've still got a grip on your mind. They've won. When you refuse to engage, you strip them of the attention they so desperately crave. You take back the energy they thrived on. You reclaim your peace. Once free, you must actively choose what you allow into your life. If you don't set boundaries, history repeats itself. Many people think of freedom as an escape, a way out of something toxic, painful, or limiting. And while breaking free from a narcissist or a toxic environment is a victory, it is not the final step. True freedom is not just about leaving something behind. It's about consciously deciding what comes next. Because here's the truth. If you don't actively take control of your life, someone else will. Without clear boundaries, without self-awareness, and without intentional decisions, You may find yourself falling into the same patterns, attracting the same kind of people, and repeating the same painful cycles. That's why freedom is not just a privilege, it's a responsibility. For so long, your focus was survival, getting through each day, managing the manipulation, figuring out how to avoid conflict. And when you finally escape, the relief is overwhelming. The air feels lighter, the weight on your chest lifts, and for the first time in a long time, you can breathe. But after the initial high of freedom wears off, a new challenge appears. What now? You see, when you've spent months or years in an environment where someone else dictated your emotions, choices, and identity, you might struggle to define yourself without them. It's not that you want them back, it's that the familiarity of dysfunction can be hard to shake. And if you're not careful, you might unknowingly seek out that same dynamic again. Freedom means choice, but not every choice serves you. Just because you're free doesn't mean you should let anyone and everyone into your space. Think of your life like a home. You don't leave your front door wide open, allowing anyone to walk in. You lock it, you decide who gets a key, you choose who is welcome and who is not. Boundaries work the same way. They are the locks on your peace, the filters that protect your emotional energy. If someone disregards your feelings, they don't belong in your space. If someone only shows up when they need something, they don't deserve your time. If someone makes you feel small, confused, or exhausted, they are not meant to be in your life. You have the right and the responsibility to protect yourself from anything and anyone that threatens your well-being. Here's something they don't tell you. When you start setting boundaries, people will push back. The ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries before will resist. They will try to guilt you, manipulate you, and convince you that you're being too much or too harsh. But remember this, anyone who gets angry at your boundaries is someone who is taking advantage of you not having them. Freedom means standing firm even when others don't like it. It means recognizing that your peace is worth more than someone else's comfort. One of the hardest parts of true freedom is learning to trust yourself again. When you've been gaslighted, manipulated, or controlled, your instincts become shaky. You second-guess your decisions. You wonder if you're overreacting. Your feelings are valid, your intuition is powerful, and if something or someone doesn't feel right, you don't need to justify why. The more you trust yourself, the stronger you become. The more you honor your boundaries, the more unshakable you grow. And eventually, you'll reach a point where you don't just feel free, you embody freedom. Freedom is not just about avoiding the wrong things. It's about welcoming the right things. Now that you are free, you get to choose. This is your time, your chance to create a life that is built on self-respect, peace, and joy. A life where you are no longer surviving, but thriving. Because true freedom isn't just about leaving the past behind, it's about building a future that refuses to repeat it. What you've endured wasn't just for you. Someone out there needs to hear how you overcame it. When you go through deep pain, it's easy to wonder, why did this happen to me? You might feel like your suffering was pointless. Like the wounds you carry are just reminders of everything you lost. But what if I told you that your story, your struggle, your survival, your growth isn't just about you? What if I told you that someone out there is trapped in the same darkness you once lived in, searching for a way out? And what if your story, your testimony, is the light that helps them find it? Pain has a purpose when it's shared. Your experiences, as painful as they were, have given you something valuable: wisdom, strength, and the ability to see through the illusions that once blinded you. And now you have the power to give others something you once needed: hope. Think back to your darkest moments, the nights when you felt alone, the days when you questioned your own worth, the moments when you thought you'd never escape, never heal, never be whole again. Now imagine if in those moments, someone had reached out and said, I've been there, and I made it through, and so will you. That's what your story can do. It can be a lifeline to someone who feels like they're drowning, a roadmap for someone who doesn't know the way forward, a reminder that they are not alone. Your healing isn't just personal, it's powerful. It can inspire someone else to believe in their own strength. It can give them the courage to take that first step toward freedom. So often people hide their wounds. They don't talk about what they went through because they feel ashamed, embarrassed, or afraid of judgment. But silence keeps people in the dark. And the more we hide our pain, the more others suffer in isolation, thinking they're the only ones going through it. But when you share your story, you shatter that illusion. You show people that healing is possible, that it's real, that it's not just something they read about. It's something they can achieve. Your scars don't make you weak. They make you living proof that even the deepest wounds can heal, that even after being broken, you can rebuild, that even after being silenced, you can speak again. There are too many people suffering in silence, believing they are alone. Too many people still under the grip of manipulation, toxicity, and abuse, not knowing there's a way out. But when survivors speak, they light the way for others. They become a beacon of hope, a source of wisdom, and a voice for those who haven't found their own yet. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be honest, to be real, to show others that healing is not only possible, it's happening, and it can happen for them too. Your story is more than just something that happened to you. It's a testament to your resilience, a declaration that what was meant to break you failed, a reminder that no matter how deep the pain, how dark the night, the light always returns. You can keep your story locked away, or you can use it to set others free. You can hide your scars, or you can show them proudly as proof that healing is real. Because at the end of the day, the greatest victory isn't just surviving, it's using your survival to help someone else find their way. The narcissist thrived on your emotional reactions, but now your strength lies in your ability to remain composed, resilient, and in control. For so long, they had control over you, not because they were stronger, not because they were smarter, but because they knew how to manipulate your emotions. They knew how to push your buttons, how to provoke a reaction, and how to twist your feelings to serve their needs. Every time you defended yourself, they played the victim. Every time you showed anger, they called you crazy. Every time you cried, they fed off your pain. Their power was never real, it was borrowed. It came from your emotional responses. But now that's over, because now you understand the truth. Real power isn't in reacting. It's in mastering your emotions, choosing your responses, and refusing to let them dictate how you feel. Narcissists don't argue to resolve, they argue to control. They don't fight to find solutions, they fight to drain you, to keep you entangled, to make sure they still occupy space in your mind. That's why they provoke you. That's why they lie, twist your words, and distort reality. They want you to lose control, because when you do, they can step back, point the finger, and say, see, you're the problem. Real power isn't about shutting down your emotions. It's about learning how to control them. It's about recognizing that just because someone is trying to provoke you doesn't mean you have to take the bait. Not because you don't care, not because you're weak, but because you refuse to play their game. There is nothing more frustrating to a narcissist than someone who won't engage. When you stop reacting, you starve them of what they crave the most: your attention, your energy, your emotional investment. Silence is not weakness. It is discipline, it is strength, it is a clear, powerful statement: you no longer have power over me. Because when you refuse to engage, you take away the very thing they use to control you. At first, it's hard. Your emotions are real, your pain is valid, and your instinct is to defend yourself. But with time, you'll realize that true freedom comes when you no longer feel the need to prove anything to anyone. The narcissist may have controlled you once, but that chapter is over. You are no longer the person they manipulated. You are stronger, wiser, and untouchable. Now, your power lies in your ability to walk away, to stay composed, and to build a life where their influence no longer exists. because true strength isn't about winning battles with them. It's about refusing to fight them at all. You have come a long way. You have fought battles, some seen, some invisible. You have endured manipulation, pain, and betrayal. But most importantly, you have survived, and not just survived, you have risen. You now understand that victory isn't just about breaking free, it's about rebuilding. Healing isn't just about time passing, it's about learning to trust yourself again. Silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. And true power isn't found in revenge, it's an emotional mastery in setting boundaries, in choosing peace over chaos. Your story is not just for you, it will inspire others. Your strength will liberate those still trapped. And your ability to remain composed, resilient, and in control is proof that no narcissist, no manipulator, no abuser can ever define you again. This is your time, your moment to step fully into the person you were always meant to be, stronger, wiser, and free. Thank you for choosing yourself. Thank you for refusing to stay silent. And thank you for proving that no darkness can ever extinguish your light.